As we progress in an uncertain economy, the real estate market continues to gain steam, especially in the Toronto market, the GTA. But there are many questions that remain. Is the market overpriced? Is there a bubble waiting to burst? And why is the market continuing to rise without a correction? These are just some of the questions many are asking. Joining me via Skype to discuss the real estate market in the GTA, the Toronto area, and answer some of these questions is Husein Gandhi. He's an expert investor, one of the top realtors in the GTA, as well as the author of the upcoming book, Pre-Construction Properties in the GGHS. Better investments, better homes for you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, well, let's get into this. This is really a hot topic. Let's get into really the billion-dollar question, and that is, are we in a real estate bubble in the GTA?
Wow, that is a heavy question. On one hand, we've had increase in prices over the last few years and considerable amount of increase. We've had double digit, closer to 15-20% increase in property prices. That has not been accompanied by an increase in economic activity. People haven't seen their household income increase drastically. That's the reason why some folks think that we might be in a real estate bubble. On the other hand, we have some very strong economic fundamentals which point to a significant increase in prices even further. So we have very strong fundamentals on the ground also. So it could be either ways, but I belong to the latter group. I believe we are not in a bubble, and I feel that we can see a significant increase in prices.
Okay, so let me play devil's advocate here. So if there is a bubble, what will happen if that bubble breaks in the real estate market?
Wow, if the bubble breaks, well, when there's a rising tide, it lifts all the boats. When the tide falls, you can see he was swimming naked. There are certain strategies which one can use to buy the right property. That's what I recommend to my clients, and most of the good real estate agents do that. We can buy properties at or below the market value, even in today's market environment. For those people who are considerably overpaying for their properties just on speculative reasons, they might be left high and dry.
Yeah, those speculators could be in serious trouble if there is a big problem, right?
If there is a big bubble. I doubt it, but that's a possibility.
Yeah, so of course, we never know.
Be defensive in your buying nature.
Okay, so if there isn't a bubble, why are the prices so high in the GTA and the surrounding cities?
Price is a function of two things, economic one-on-one, demand and supply. Let's look at the supply side of it. The Toronto and the GTA region is surrounded by the green belt. The green belt means that we cannot have any housing out there. It is for conservational reasons. So we have a shortage in terms of land. There isn't anything further down south. We have Lake Ontario. We cannot go further up north. So the only possible way is the prices to increase. That's the supply side of the equation. Another point out here is that normally with an increase or a significant increase in terms of price, we should see a lot of supply come into the market. But we've had consistent double-digit growth in the GTA over the last few years, and we've had consistently low inventory. So it's just that the properties are not available, and that is because there's a supply constraint. Now let's look at the demand side of the equation. Did you know that Canada is one of the only few developed countries which is adding to its population between the ages of 22 to 44? These are the people who are the buyers who get into the market to buy their homes. The developed nations are on an average losing 3 to 4% of their population between the ages of 22 and 44, while as we as a nation are gaining about 3% between those ages. That is because perhaps because of our immigration policy, or for whatever reasons. Let's not get into that. The point is that we have an increase in the number of buyers, and that's why the prices tend to go up.
Okay, but
another thing which I want to point out to you is that just the people in Toronto feel that the prices are too expensive. If we look at Toronto compared to nearly each and every other major city in the world, looking at it through the price to income ratio, wherein if the for example, the average income of a person in a family income in the GTA is about $100,000. They live in a $700,000 home. Something similar in Hong Kong is 33. So if their income is 100,000, they live in a $3.3 million home. The average for the developed world is between 15 to 20. So, Toronto is not all that pricey when we look at it on a world stage.
Okay.
Yes, we find the prices to be significantly higher because they're higher than what they were yesterday. But when you look at it from the world stage, we're not all that expensive.
Okay, but how are the young millennials, in their late 20s, early 30s, how can they afford these houses when their salary is not that big?
Oh, I've seen a lot of growth in houses wherein they have finished basements. People are buying homes so that they can rent out the basement and use that to pay off their mortgages. Another
my point is that how can they actually purchase the house, especially if you have to put down 20% or 25%, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. How can they make that down payment on a house that's $500,000 or $1 million when they're in their late 20s, early 30s?
It is actually very difficult to do that. So there are ways in which I help my clientele to achieve that. For instance, if you want to live in the GTA, in or near Toronto in the GTA, I would advise my clients who cannot afford to buy a house in the GTA, buy a house in the Golden Horseshoe, which is at about half or maybe even 1/3 of the prices in the GTA.
Sure.
They'd definitely be able to afford that. Put that out on rent, and you rent at the same time. What happens? The property prices tend to increase. You are now plugged into the market. You have now skin in the game. The property prices do not run away from that. Use that equity to buy where you actually want to live. That's a technique which I use, which some of my clients use, and they find it fantastic. They are able to become homeowners sooner rather than later.
We have to take a break right now, but stay tuned for more right after these messages as we continue to discuss the real estate market in the GTA with top investor and realtor Husein Gandhi. Stay tuned.